Hello, everybody. This is Rocket Rick J18, and today I'm going to talk to you about a gift that I received from my good friend Stephen with a PH and his channel at RipFan8. I'm going to talk to you about some pickups of cards, some cards that I've gotten, and I'm going to shout out a couple of channels that you might want to take a look at. Many of you probably will have already looked at them, but that's all right. It's still good to say, hey, I watch these guys, and they can do you some good if you want to take a try. Or anyway, that's what I like to do. So hope you enjoy that. And then we may have some offhand comments about one thing or another. Uh, to wrap things up. I don't really have that many cards, but I think what I have you'll enjoy seeing. So let's turn the camera down, and I want to show you. And it's kind of a three-parter here. First is a T-shirt, and Steven knows that I wear a lot of T-shirts, and he gave me one of these uh, at the National last year, and he's given me another one with a couple of other gifts. So the one gift, besides the T-shirt, is a pamphlet, actually, a religious pamphlet. And if you know Mickey's story, you know that as he was in the terminal stages of cancer, he had a genuine, I think, a genuine conversion event that took place through the auspices of his good friend and teammate, Bobby Richardson, as he lay in the hospital in Dallas. And this little pamphlet, which looks kind of like a postcard, is advertising a CD of Mickey's religious conversion, if that's the right word, entitled "His Final Inning." So that's that one. And then the other one is a flip book, which if you flip through it, you can see it. I can't show it to you on the TV monitor, but anyway, the idea is that Mick was a switch hitter, so we can see this film in reverse, so to speak, by just turning the book over this way. And in one case, he's batting right-handed, and in the other, he's batting left-handed. So it's kind of a cool thing too. So that's the gift portion, and I really do thank Stephen, and I'll put a link to his channel down in the comment, in the description rather, so that you can see where that goes. And let's take a look at some cards now. So I'm gonna show these more or less kind of one at a time. This is from 1971 set. It's let me zoom in a little bit, and it shows Frank Robinson crossing home plate in the 1971 World Series against the Cincinnati Reds. This was in Game 3, and on the back of the card it gives you the details, the box score from the game, which the Orioles won 6-3, and that was the key hit, I think, obviously. Next is a card from the 1971 to 1980 Fleer World Series cards. This was an extension of 8 years worth of cards, I guess 8 or 9, I guess, probably 9, I guess. Yeah, it started in 1971. So this is 1979. Also, a World Series won by the Pittsburgh Pirates, coming back from a 3-1 deficit, and it shows there that only 4 teams had done that in this through this period of time, and 2 of them were the Pirates, 79 and 25. And then in 1958, the Yankees did it against the Milwaukee Braves, and in 1968, the Detroit Tigers did it against the St. Louis Cardinals. And I'm a big Frank Robinson fan, so I like that card. The next card that I have to show you is a 1934-1936 Diamond Stars card of Mickey Cochran, card number 9, in a SGC Authentic. And it's authentic because it did not meet the minimum size requirement for this particular set, but it's a blazing card, and I just am thrilled to have it, and it came at a pretty good price. You know, you pay a bit of a premium when they look good and centering and so forth, even in an authentic, because I mean, an authentic can be torn in half. It's really hard to imagine, but yeah, that's what happens. So that goes into my the way you tell which year it is. I mean, obviously, SGC has already told you it's 1936, but if you flip them over, they were in different colors each year. 34 was black, 35 was green, and 36 blue. And then you can also tell because down here in the stats line, it tells you that these are stats from 1935, which of course they wouldn't have had in 33 or 34. So that that's how it works. You know how it works. The next card I'm going to show you, I have shown before in a video, I believe. Anyway, not a pickup video, so this is the first time we've been seen as a pickup, and it's the 1943 MP and Company card, which is a hand cut drawing, sort of cartoonish, of Joe DiMaggio in a SGC2. It's a pretty decent grade, really, for a hand cut card. And again, on the back, it has a blurb there about Joe's season in 1942, which the Yankees went to the World Series. Joe batted .305 that year, and then he was off to the war, as many players were. Anyway, again, not too many Joe DiMaggio cards playing from his playing days, but that's one of them, so I decided to get it. Here's another card from Joe's playing days, the 1941 double play, where he's pictured with his left fielder, Charlie Keller. If you know the story of the 1936 to 39 Yankees, they won 4 consecutive World Series. Only one team has matched that or gone beyond, and that was the Yankees of 1949 to 1953, who won 5 in a row. 1941, of course, was the miracle year for Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams. Joe had his 56-game hitting streak in 1941, a feat which has not been matched either before or since. The two players who came the closest were the 19th century Wee Willie Keeler, who hit in 44 straight games, and then the late 1970s version of the Cincinnati Reds, when Pete Rose hit in 44 straight games as well. So it's been over 80 years since Joe hit 56. It's also been over 80 years since Ted Williams became the last major league batter to hit 400 in a season when he batted 406. And you all know the story. He entered the last day of the season when Boston was to play a doubleheader. I want to say against the A's, and Ted had a batting average of .3995, which under the rules would round up to 400. So he could have sat out the doubleheader or one of the games of the doubleheader, but he did not. He told his manager he didn't want back into it, that he would go out and play, and he was 4 for 5, I think, in the first game, and 2 for 4 in the second game, to wind up at 406 for the season. So he actually raised his batting average 6.5 points on the final day of the season by going 6 for 8 in the doubleheader. Quite an accomplishment. Two great players. The next cards that I have are cards that I have obtained in order to complete my run of 1952 Topps cards and this is Phil Cavaretta, card number 295 in a PSA 2. Phil's a manager and first baseman for the Chicago Cubs, and so he was won a batting title in 1945 and hit .317 over the course of 17 World Series games. So it's obviously towards the end of his career, but quite a good ball player. Maybe not quite so good a manager, but it's what we have to live with, I guess. So that's Phil Cavaretta. Next is card number 300, Barney McCoskey, the Cleveland Indians. And McCoskey was a outfielder for the Indians. Here's the back of the card. And it shows that as of this date, he boasted a lifetime batting average over 300. And it's actually 314. So that's Barney McCoskey. And finally, card number 308 Luis Aloma with the Chicago White Sox, and Luis was a pitcher from Cuba, one of a good many Cuban pitchers back in those days. Of course, after the Fidel Castro-led revolution in 1958 and 59, it was much more difficult for baseball players to get out of Cuba. Although those of you who recall the late 90s run of World Series wins by the Yankees, you'll remember Orlando Hernandez and his brother Livan Hernandez, both of whom were from Cuba and got to this country only by difficult and, at least under Cuban rules, illegal means in order to defect. And just a, extremely difficult thing to have to go through. So we have our brother Orlando Barrow, who has told us a lot about Cuban baseball, both from the days that he remembers and some of the days that he probably would like to forget. In any case, Luis was a pretty decent pitcher. At this point in time, his career record was 13-2. So this gets me down to a handful of cards, some of which I have ordered and will be coming in over the course of the next few days, I hope. And then I have 3 more to go after those cards come in, which I'm going to, try to get before the end of the year. And so I can join my brother G's Mikey with a complete run of 52 tops, card numbers 1 through 310, leaving only the high numbers for me. I do know that Mikey has several high numbers already, and he's got the big one. So number 311, Mickey Mantle, which I still have to add to my collection, but I have a plan, but I've already mentioned it, so I'm not going to go into it again. But those are my pickups, and that's what I have for you to show you today. And then I would like to go back to the screen and talk to you about some pickups, some shout-outs that I have. I'm going to try to add 3 more shout-outs to my ongoing efforts to shout out some channels every time I make a video, at least for a while. I think I could go over 100 videos now just based on the on my channels that I subscribe to. So I have watched all of these guys, and some a lot, some occasionally, but all of them I have watched. The first channel I'm going to shout out is Shannon at Back to the Cardboard. Shannon is a guy who has some great insights into baseball and baseball history, and shows some great cards on his channel. It's really a pleasure to watch his channel. You always learn something. Another guy who's in a similar vein, Rob at Baseball Time Traveler. He gives you, again, a lot of historical facts and stories about the cards that he shows on his channel. You ought to take a look, and these channels will all be Links will be set out in the description so that you can easily navigate there and take a look if you haven't already. And I'm sure many of you already have, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but they're great channels. And then the third one I want to give a shout out to is my friend Bill at Billy Ball Game Sports Cards. And Billy's, as he likes to say in the opening to his videos, he's just a dude that likes to talk about baseball cards. And he does talk. He's even more long-winded than I am, and that's going some. So I'm not going to drone on too long, but Billy's got he's a vintage and modern collector, and he likes both. He's really gotten into vintage collecting, and one of my great joys at the National last year was to watch as he picked up his Hank Aaron rookie card. He did a video just the other day where he showed that card again. I think he showed it maybe a dozen times now since he got it. But it's a stunner. It's in a 2, and it's but it shows better than a 2, and he's over the moon about it, as he should be. And he made a comment in this video that he just made, and I won't spoil it too much for you, but he did say in it that he didn't really care about missing out. He paid a fair price for the card. He had a trade involved in it, and you can go to his channel to get more details. But his comment was pretty funny, and basically what he said was, he wasn't concerned about missing out, on he didn't care, what it sold for in 1989. I don't know why he picked 1989, but I'm going to just show you my baseball guide from it's through 1988, so it came out in 1989, and it had prices. I think it came out in 1989, but close enough anyway. And I looked through, the 1954 cards, and I found that in 1954, a Hank Aaron card could be had for, it's card number 128. So I'm going to, hopefully, I don't know if you will be able to see it. We'll hold it up here. And card number 128 is down there, and it shows that Hank Aaron could be had for $600 in near mint, $300 in VGX, and $60 in good. Well, his card is a 2, and that's good. So he paid significantly more than $300 for his card, and that's fine. That's fine. So anyway, that's what I have for you. I wanted to mention also Chris from Missouri, who convinced me that my initial thoughts about the Classic Eras Committee consideration for the Hall of Fame ballot, which is out now. The ballot's out now. The members of the committee have yet to be announced, and of course they're going to meet and pick. Hopefully, they'll pick at least one, and I'm hoping they'll pick three. That would take some doing to do. It's mathematically possible, because each member gets only 3 votes, that 4 could get 12 votes, but they'd have to be spread out. It doesn't do any good to the guy who's coming in fourth if somebody gets 12 votes, or gets 16 votes for the Hall of Fame. That is to say, he's just going to use up some of the ones that the guy coming in fourth would need to get elected. So that's unlikely. 3 is slightly more likely. 2 is a lot more likely, and 1 is what usually happens. It's usually only 1, and they only meet every 3 years. So it's guys are not going to get in very fast at that rate. Anyway, I had initially thought that I would have voted for Dick Allen, Dave Parker, and either Ken Boyer or Tommy John. I didn't, but admittedly, that's because I didn't know hardly anything about either Vic Harris or John Donaldson. Those were 2 black players, and one of them, was really known more as a manager for the Homestead Grays, and he's still, among the all-time managers in terms of the Negro League's World Series championship games. He was a good player, 300, hit 300, didn't hit a lot of home runs, and he had some speed, so he stole a few bases and was a good fielder and so forth. But he was really better known for his managerial efforts. John Donaldson played in the Negro Leagues, but he was past his prime by the time that they came around in the 20s. He is considered by many to be the best left-handed pitcher during the decade of the 1910 to 1920. Won over 400 games. Only 2 major league players have ever done that. And they were Cy Young, who won 511, and Walter Johnson, who won 417. The winningest left-handed pitcher in Major League Baseball history is Warren Spahn, who won 363. He's the fifth all-time. Warren Spahn is, yeah. Incredible achievement. Lots of 20-game win seasons. Won some ERA titles, won some pitching titles, won a Cy Young Award, pitched, a lot before there was a Cy Young Award. So, that's quite an achievement. John Donaldson, statistically, a lot of his wins were before the Negro Leagues were formed, so they were, accumulated by barnstorming. But there's and Chris showed this. They built a statue to John Donaldson in Chris's hometown, and Chris showed a film clip which lasted for 39 seconds of John Donaldson pitching, and it was impressive, to say the least. But that's all the film that there is. But all these statistics that were compiled by him over his career were, they got through going through endless accounts in newspapers and other, records. So it's not, just somebody's saying, well, I think he won 400 and some games, and it's got some evidence to back it up. So it's a shame that it's not clearer, but I think I would go along with baseball, including the Negro League players' records in the all-time records for organized baseball, since it was Major League Baseball that excluded blacks from playing before 1947. And you can't have it both ways, so it's fair, in my opinion. So there you have it. So that's my, miscellaneous potpourri add-on, and I changed my mind, and I picked John Donaldson as one of the three players that I would vote for if I had a vote, which I don't. I only have an opinion. You know what they're worth. So there you have it. This is Rocket Rick J 18, wishing that all your collecting dreams come true.